All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the post-game press conference from the Invitational. Pentagon, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. South Carolina, top ranked, beating South Dakota State 62-44. We do have media assembled, both here in person and online. I believe plenty from the East Coast. We're going to start with questions for our senior guard from South Carolina, Brea Beal, from the media who's here in person, and then we'll turn it over to online, and then we'll do the same thing with Coach Staley. So with that, any questions in the room for Ms. Beal?
Bria, got to be a 6-point game. They made it close, and then you immediately went on, I think, an 11-0 run to kind of take control back. What did they do to make it close there for a second, and how did you guys respond?
I think a lot of for them was, in transition, they were able to make buckets, I would say, and, for us, we were able to, come together and say we need to stop transition buckets and take care of the ball to stop that 6-point gap.
When you have a size advantage like you guys did, obviously that's something that can play into your favor, but are there challenges going against a team that is undersized like that? What's it like playing against a team when you know you have that kind of size advantage?
I think for a lot of teams we go against, we have to deal with, them packing the paint. We throw the ball inside. All of our players are turning around and, putting hands up for them. So I think to make it easier for our post, we got to be able to hit outside shots or, straight line drives to the basket.
Any nerves set in when they cut it to 6, or?
I think speaking for me personally, no, not really. But maybe for the younger ones on the bench, they get a little nervous. But for the ones that been around for a little while, I think we're able to handle it well.
There might be some who will look at this and say, "Oh, you guys are only up 6 on the team out Summit League. How will this game make you better as you head into your SEC play?"
I think just looking at this team, they're a good, competitive team. They play hard, and that's going to be any team we play against. And I think it's, another game to, turn the page, go to practice, and look at how we played and what we can do better.
Okay, with that, any questions online for Brea? If you have a question, please unmute yourself. So I've got a question from Jeremiah.
Yeah, Brea, obviously this was another game where Camila Cardoso, very active, I guess, on the boards and also just blocking shots. Just from your perspective, just like how big has that been this season, and just how big was it in tonight's win as well?
I think for us, especially in practice, we hammer on her and tell her, be dominant. When she's dominant, she's unstoppable, and it makes the game, so much easier. So for her to be dominant in these games, it makes it easier for us as a team.
Next question comes to us from Alan Cole. Alan, go ahead.
You had career highs tonight in steals and blocks. Do you ever remember, even at any level of basketball, having a defensive game like the one you had tonight? And what do you think you had working so well to just kind of explode on defense in this game?
I definitely not. I don't remember a game I've had like this, but when it comes to, close games like that, it kind of just comes naturally. You're not really thinking, oh, I need a pressure. It's just like, okay, we don't have the time to, sag off and play regular defense. We need to get the ball and get the ball through the rim.
And let's go to Emily Adams. Emily, go ahead.
Brea, you had a couple games there a few weeks ago with 0 points. Tonight you have 9. Just, what kind of situations do you feel like get your offensive game going like it was tonight?
I think definitely for me, it's again, a defensive thing. It makes it so much easier on my part. We have great scorers on our team, from the starter to the bench. For me, I'm a defensive leader. So, for me to get those steals and complete them in transition, it makes the game a lot easier.
Perfect. And with that, let's go ahead and thank you for your participation. We'll kick it over to Coach Staley. Questions from the media assembled in the room, please.
Dawn, what did you see that South Dakota State was able to do when they did cut it to 6?
They were themselves. Obviously, we played this game knowing that we're going to be challenged. They are a really good basketball team in which, they make you pay. They're patient. They are calculating and intentional defensively as well as offensively. We just knew when they cut the lead, we knew they weren't going to go away. That's number one. And number two, I think sometimes we hurt ourselves. Sometimes we took some ill-advised shots that put us out of defensive transition defense, and they got some easy buckets. And we weren't as disciplined, and we gave them and ones when we probably should have just given up the bucket. And those are just momentum plays that we have to clean up. We got some new players who are playing, intricate minutes for us that we're still trying to gel. But this was a challenge. It was a good measuring stick to where we want to be, what we need to do. It's an NCAA team. That's a team that's probably going to upset a lot of people in the tournament. And fortunately for us, we get them early, so we get a chance to see them again. We're more familiar with it. But if it's just a one game, like in a tournament, they're hard to prepare for.
What can you say to as far as what Brea was referring to with smaller teams trying to pack it on you? How'd you feel like your team handled that?
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I thought we made some adjustments at halftime, just kind of clear things up for us. Just flatten them off and get our guards involved, taking some shots. And our coach players know they have to finish in the crowd. They're going to see 2 and 3. Our job is to find that there is a time in the possession where you're transitioning from transition offense to going into running a set. And that is the time that the defense is most vulnerable, and we need to get our post players the ball during that time. And we try to express that to our players, but it's a hard thing for them to see it. So we're gonna watch it on film and then really break it down so we can steal some buckets here and there with people packing it in on us.
Keep playing games out here. Obviously, you did the last couple of years against pretty good South Dakota teams, not to mention the other team that was in that invitation. There's men's teams would not do this, and there's probably a lot of women's programs that wouldn't.
It's a little bit of superstition because when we come here, we've ended the season on a really, really high note. And then part of it is just the hospitality. Like, they got banners of our team up in the gym. They got banners of South Dakota State in the gym. They make you feel super welcome. This is, they treat women's basketball like it's a sport. They put on a show. Like they make us feel great about being here. There's a great crowd. This is the kind of environment that we want to play in. It's very similar to playing in the NCAA tournament, like in December. I know it's a blizzard out there, but that's cool too because you never know where the Final Four is going to be, where you're going to have to travel to. So it's always good to play in an environment that you really get something out of it competitively. You get something out of it when it comes to hospitality and them making you feel really good about being here.
This is their first look at snow. How they react?
Most of them, we've been here last year, so it snows every time.
Worse this time.
It's a little worse this time. Let's see if we can get out. We got to get out. See if our plane can lift up and get back to 60-degree Columbia, South Carolina.
Apologies for the weather. Let's turn to the virtual media. Please raise your virtual hand. If you have a question for Coach Staley, we've got Jeremiah here. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Coach, you talked earlier this season about how you have some of the players, I guess, look to Brea Beal, just with her experience and what she brings to both ends of the court. But when she has a game like she did today on both ends, just what kind of examples does that set, and just what does that do for, I guess, maybe some of the younger players on the squad?
I really don't think there is another player in the country that can do what she does. Not another player. She's an elite defender. She's patient. She lets the stars be the star and ends up being the star. Her offense is coming. Like, I think she's more and more comfortable shooting the basketball. We're encouraging her to shoot the ball a lot more, and she's getting there. And to me, I think she's great. She's irreplaceable. Leah Boston's irreplaceable. That entire class is really irreplaceable because they're like Legos. They just work well together. And it's they brought pure joy to our team and our fans and our university and our city and our state.
We've got time. Let's let Emily go next, and then we'll fall by Alan, and then we'll let Coach go. Emily, go ahead.
Coach, you guys have had a couple of those, slow offensive first halves and then really picked it up in the second half. Do you feel like that's just sort of a product of, the travel and all that, or is there something else you feel like is kind of going on there?
Well, Emily, if you've ever played against, someone that has the player behind our post players in front and on the side, your offense can get a little stagnant. And I think after halftime, we make adjustments and we try to give our players, we try to simplify. I think at times in the first and second quarter, it becomes psychological because they're playing so far off of you that you want that ball to go in. So you probably take a shot that's a little bit too soon in the offense. You take a shot that's not, a rhythm shot in our offense, and it can make it look like it's not very good offense. But I thought in the third and fourth quarters, we took better shots. We put our players in positions where we knew they were going to shoot it, so we can get rebounds, and hopefully so we can get into just some balanced transitional defensive positions.
And the last question of the night for Coach Staley belongs to Alan. Alan, go ahead.
Yep. This is kind of a different type of game than some of the ones you've won this year. You've had some blowouts, the UCLA game, the offense kind of brought you back, kind of the same thing with Stanford. Do you kind of feel like you feel better as a coach when your team wins a different type of game? Does that do anything, just seeing kind of finding a different way to win so close to conference play starting in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, the teams, we play our schedule. Like, we're strategic in playing the type of schedule that we play. Because we want to see it all. We want to see, we want to measure ourselves up against different styles and it's gut check. This is a gut check win for us to come here, to have the crowd. We're used to playing in front of big crowds. We're not used to playing in front of big crowds on the road. It just prepares us. And I think that our players are challenged. Brea Beal just talked about, she doesn't get flustered. They don't flinch. They welcome different challenges to see where they are and how they can grow and how we can win in different ways.
That'll do it for South Carolina. Thank you so much, Coach. I always appreciate you. Good luck this season. Go cut down some more nets. And we'll be joined momentarily by representatives from South Dakota State. We're expecting Coach Aaron Johnston, along with players Myah Selland and South Meyer. They should be here very shortly.
You guys remember when they cut it to 6 and then they got 2 quick buckets, right? So the play-by-play says that Bria had that steal and put back. I don't think it was her. You remember
I
that?
remember they hit the bucket inside, then they got the steal and the score.
I'm showing it. It's that's what your play-by-play says.
That's from South Dakota State. All right, welcome to the crew from South Dakota State. We've got a couple players, Myah Selland along with Brooklyn Meyer, followed by Coach Aaron Johnston. We'll do questions for the players first. We'll start with the media just some in the room here first, and then after that, if there are questions from the virtual media, go in that direction. So questions are open for the room.
Myah, I'm sure you had designs on shocking the world tonight and pulling off a big upset. Fall a little short. How does it feel? Just how do you feel like you played? What are the emotions after a game like that?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think you can look at stretches where we played really well and we could have, had that kind of game tonight, but then there are stretches where we didn't. So it's tough, but I think, overall we played hard. We stayed within our system defensively, but just didn't quite get the job done.
What did you feel like it would take to win a game like this?
Yeah, like I said, just those stretches we put stretches together where we were really locked in defensively, made plays offensively, but then we had, those stretches where
a team like that's just going to take advantage of. And so finding ways to get rid of those stretches.
Brooklyn last year, this time you were going up against a Central Lion, MOC, Floyd Valley, and now you're going against Elite Boston and South Carolina. Why do you think you've been able to adjust seemingly so quickly to this level of play? Just how much of a culture shock is that I just said that?
I mean, yeah, it's quite a bit different. It's a lot more physical down there, and the girls are a lot bigger than high school. But I just feel like just as a team, like in general, like when we get inside and stuff, we're just focusing on being aggressive and just staying aggressive the whole game.
Even though they certainly had that height advantage on you, didn't feel like the team was ever intimidated. You felt pretty good going against one-on-one.
Yeah, we just tried to stay tough and stay aggressive, and if we got blocked, then whatever, we're just gonna stay aggressive.
Myah, you went 7-5 during this non-conference. It's always pretty tough. That's the way it's designed. What do you feel you take out of this as you head into the next part of your season, which is league play?
Yeah, I think we always like to be challenged in the non-conference season, and so just taking what we can. We've kind of talked about the concept of falling forward, and even if we fall short, we're just ready for the next opportunity. And so our next opportunity is conference play, and so we'll be ready to go there.
Myah, just how difficult was the size? I mean, obviously a ton of block shots and, 6'4", 6'7" in some cases. I mean, just how was that? How did you deal with that?
Yeah, they're obviously have really good size, really good athleticism, and so that's tough to go against. But I thought we just tried to stay aggressive, and like Brooklyn said, just if you get blocked, the next shot. So, but they're big.
Let's turn to the online media. Online media has questions. Looks like Andrew Bolton does. Andrew, go ahead.
Myah, it took you a little while to get going offensively. What do you think they did on you specifically in the first half that caused you to kind of be off your game in the first half?
Yeah, I think probably a combination of that size. I probably wasn't as aggressive as I needed to be, and so I thought the rest of the team kind of stepped up in the first half, and we all found ways to get better looks in the second half. But yeah, I probably just let their size and physicality get to me a little.
All right, and that no further questions for the players. Thank you both for being here. We'll dismiss you to get on your post game. And in the meantime, we've got Coach Aaron Johnston. Again, we'll go to questions in the room for Coach Johnston.
Aaron, what were the keys coming into this game? What did you feel like were the things you guys had to do to give yourselves a chance to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you're playing somebody like South Carolina, they're not just the defending national champion. I think they're the, certain favorites to do it again this year. There's a couple of teams that you can say that about in addition to South Carolina, but they're certainly one of those teams. So if anybody is going to beat South Carolina, whether it's a South Dakota State or anybody else, 95% of the teams out there, one, you got to have some things go your way. You just do. And I thought we defended really well. I'm so proud of the effort we put into that side of it. But we're also fortunate there are a lot of open shots that if they start knocking down early, it changes the game. So some of those things have to go our way, and that went our way today. We rebounded, I thought, well enough to be in the game. They usually out-rebound people by, I think, close to 20 a game. Rebounds were still a factor in this game, but we rebounded well enough to be in the game. Played hard enough. Didn't let, a negative play discourage us or take away. So we competed hard enough to win this game. Those are things we talked a lot about. But we weren't good enough offensively, to win this game. And that's the part we have to continue to take a look at. How do we move forward against a team like this? Because our goal would be to play other teams like this. How do we take this and figure out ways where we can be more productive offensively? I absolutely think there's, length inside and on the perimeter, quickness. They're hard to score on for a lot of people. We'll have to figure out how we can get our team in a better position to be a little bit more productive. So some of the things we needed, like I mentioned, went our way and gave us that chance. But the offensive piece didn't. I think when we got it to, was it 47, 41, or maybe 40, I think there was a 15-3 run to finish or something like that. We had a turnover, offensive rebound, and they kind of pushed it. And we just didn't score with them there. So, so we were close in a lot of areas, but not quite good enough to win. So, that's how I would describe it. It was going to be.
Down 6, did you think maybe?
I thought maybe at any point. Yeah, down 6, that certainly is a little more encouraging. You know, you get the crowd behind you, digging in from being down double figures for a lot of the game and feel like you're just holding on. That little run right there, you felt like, ooh, now we're making a push here. We're actually doing some productive things. Myah was a big part of that run and that push. Every really good team needs their leaders to lead in those kind of games. And at times, Myah really did that tonight. And other times, she had a hard time getting herself going. And it's not just Myah. I think we had some other, people. I think the first half we had 13 points off the bench. Does that sound right? 11 or 13. We needed more from that first group. And when I say that, I don't mean to say they needed to do more. We needed more from them. We got to figure out how we can find those shots and get them more comfortable. And obviously, then we need to execute it. But we just needed more offensively throughout the game. But that was a result of us finally playing a little better offensively.
We wrap up this non-conference 7-5. Like I said, with the girls, it's always designed to be tough and challenging. What are the takeaways from this run as you head into Summit League play? And certainly if you can get to the NCAA tournaments, what do you maybe take away from this?
Yeah, without looking too far down the road, just kind of where we're at right now, I thought we had a really productive non-conference schedule. We were competitive in a lot of games. We had a really tough road trip. Quite honestly, we didn't play well. We still had a chance to win one of those games. We played a lot of ranked teams. I think this was our 7th Power 5 game, probably 6 or 7, something like that. So the competition has been elite. I'm sure we'll be a top 10 non-conference schedule here as we go forward. So that by design, and I feel really, really good about it. I don't feel good about losing 5 times, but I feel good after coming out of that schedule. I think we know exactly where we're at, where we have to get better, how we have to help do that as coaches. I think where our players have to continue to improve. And so from that perspective, it was a really positive non-conference schedule. We've played against some of the best players in the country, some of the best teams in the country, some of the best coaches in the country. That's just an amazing opportunity. I'm excited to be a part of that with our program. I thought we handled it all really well, and I think we'll continue to do that in the future.
The best team you've ever seen, ever gone against?
Yeah, I always hate to do that, best win, best team, best, they're awful good. I mean, they are good. They're just so hard to score against. As much as I'm going to go back and be frustrated that we couldn't get more done, I mean, very few teams do get a lot done against South Carolina. They're that good. They're just prepared. They're well coached. They're talented. They're good for sure.
Any questions from the online media? Andrew Holton, looks like you're ready. Go ahead.
Aaron, Brooklyn talked about it a little bit, but what do you think has allowed her to, have such a nice transition from high school to college right away?
Yeah, I mean, how about Brooklyn tonight, but throughout the year, Brooklyn looked comfortable and confident out there. It was hard going for Brooklyn, going against, the best player in the country at times. But she looked like she was confident and comfortable. Her, potential is through the roof. We are so excited that she's a Jackrabbit, and we got to continue to find ways to incorporate her. She is a tremendous talent. She's a great teammate, and she's just a lot of fun to be around. So she's got a bright future in the near future and distant future for sure.
Looks like that is it. Thank you, Coach Allen, for passing around. Safe travels. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This complete recording will be available post game. YouTube channel.
Myah,